Welcome back in, guys. Another disappointing edition, weekend edition anyway, with our Reds down 11-2 here in the ninth inning. So maybe I see a couple guys talking in the chat about whether we could score 9 runs in the ninth. I hope so, but I'm not holding my breath, that's for sure. How we doing today, Mike?
Oh, was doing better till the 6th inning.
Ain't that the truth?
Ah.
It's funny because I was kind of writing down a couple of turning points there in the 6th inning, and I just stopped writing after a while. It was like, yeah, this one's got out of control.
Yeah. Sad thing is, man, you could tell, and so could, like Cowboy was talking about it too. Just started getting out of hand, and you could tell, and just all spun out. We'll talk about it later, but man, kind of disappointing outing. Missed opportunities by the offense and poor bullpen and poor defense. So
the Reds trifecta.
Yeah.
Let's see if TJ can at least stay hot. He's been our shining light in our haunted house.
Yeah.
Really felt like we got off to a good start in the first inning, and the way we were getting the pitch count up and that sort of stuff, but that didn't vote out very well.
Well, hopefully, I'm not expecting a 9-run comeback, but I would like to see maybe string together a few hits. Elly's already 2 for 4, but Encarnacion Strand needs a hit in the worst way. And it would be great to be able to see him get an at-bat and see if we get a chance to at least get some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting to see what they do in the 2-hole here, too. I figure we'll see. We might even see Benson or Fraley unless they are really getting a whole day off.
At this point, they're just like...
It's a lost cause. Yeah, it's a lost cause. How was your Friday, Mike?
It was pretty good. The weather was okay, and then it started to rain a little bit. Watering my plants for me. I like that.
There you go.
Here in Columbus, but pretty excited for this series. This is your shot against the best there is, right? This is a team that is best record in the American League. See what the Reds can do, and unfortunately, they weren't as up to the task as we would have liked.
Right. Kind of what I was afraid of going up against a buzzsaw like the Tigers, but it's you kind of pray and just hope for the best. And honestly, we looked good until the 6th, and then the wheels just came off.
Yeah. Hopefully, well, you know what they say about once you about our record when we lose the first game.
Yeah.
Astounding. So you can't break the streak unless you lose the first game.
Yeah, that would be a good weekend to bring it to a close.
It would be. It would be.
Be a nice Father's Day gift on Sunday. We're going to be in the ballpark, so I would really enjoy that one. Yeah, I'd really enjoy that one.
Corey, at this rate, I might need to send you up on Saturday too.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good record so far. I've been there. I've been to 3, and we're 3-0. So the more I can make it, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, we just watched Espinal walk, and De La Cruz is up. So we're a little bit behind. We synced up already, but that's where we are comments wise. Hopefully we'll be on for a little bit more talking about some Reds getting hits. Elly De La Cruz just took strike 1. We got 0-1. This Brevia guy. I mean, we did get to see 1, 2, 3, and then Herder would be 4 people from their bullpen. Not anyone from their A bullpen, but I mean, it's good to see, bullpen arms. At least I think the last time we faced a left-handed opener, the bulk reliever went all the way into the eighth. So I guess that's some progress.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about it.
At least set us up for success for the weekend.
Let's hope so.
Oh, we got a 1-2 count on Elly. Come on, Elly. It'd be nice to see another missile right here. That one he hit earlier got out in a hurry.
That's right. 109, something like that.
Yeah.
How about this dude, Jake Rogers? Batting 140 something, comes in as 2 hits,
a walk, like
2 RBIs. I know. It's
kill. I think what did
frustrating.
said he had 5 hits on the year or something like that. Comes in, he's got 2 of them today. Come on.
Yeah, not great.
That
not great.
Yep.
Their other catcher is the OSU guy. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah. I heard you say that on the pregame show, man. I didn't realize he was a Buckeye, but that kid is tough.
Dingler.
Yeah, that kid is really good.
He's hitting pretty well, but he's also like fantastic defensively. Blocking, throwing, and framing. So
yeah,
we're probably going to see him some point during this series.
I watched him make a throw in the Cubs series that was absolutely phenomenal. It was going to take a perfect throw to get the guy out, and it's absolutely what he did. He's a good one back there.
I realize I don't have my microphone plugged in. Hold on.
Well, now full count on Elly. At least getting a good bat out of him. Come on, Elly. Stay hot.
He's been getting on base, that's for sure.
Yep. Rip one down the line. That's fair ball. That gets into the corner. That's going to score Espinal. Takes the score to 11-3. Elly Cruz is into second. Stand up double. All right, Elly. Staying hot. There's one. 8 more, baby. 8 more. Looks like the conditions aren't getting any better. Elly definitely slid going out of the box right there and took about 9 pounds of mud with him.
All right, CES, come on. Let's break the O for here we go.
Yeah, productive at bat would definitely make me feel a lot better about it. He's just stressing. Oh. Come on, CES. Fouls one off his ankle. 0-2 to CES. Got Elly on second. Trying to get another run in here. Keep scratching away. Keep scratching away.
Hey.
All right.
He didn't swing.
He left it alone. All right. We'll take
that. Growth.
We will take that. Just put it in a gap somewhere. Okay.
Another take.
Let's go. I don't think he's seen 4 pitches in a bat all night.
Sure doesn't feel like it. He did. His line out was hit really hard, though.
Oh, that's true.
So, I think, let's see, what was that? It was in the, Stevenson single was 107, but Encarnacion Strand's line out was 101.1. So, at least he made good contact there.
No doubt. I see you in the chat, Optimistic John. That's definitely my guy. CES is my dude for sure. When he's struggling, it's like, oh, man, it seems to be really bad. Pop up. Oh, ran in no man's land. CES got himself a cheap one. All right.
On a bad pitch, but that's what you can do.
Right. First and third. Anything to get my guy off the schneid and get him rolling again.
I know. Just broke. What is that? I think he had he was 0 for 12 going in.
Oh wow.
To that at bat.
All right, TS. Tyler Stevenson up. Runners on first and third, one out.
They just said Stern in the Tiger pen. If we could get another Tiger picture out here, I feel like that's a win.
Right.
So like make him go deeper into that pen here.
Take our small victories where we can on days like today.
That's right. That's right.
One to CES or to CES. Listen to me, Tyler Stevenson. Fouled it off. Yeah. We've gotten pretty good production out of the top of the lineup. Stevenson got 2. Elly had 3. Friedl's got at least a couple hits. So, I mean, besides our obvious 2-hole blunder, but.
Oh.
Oh, he missed it. Oh, he dropped it. Oh, man. Oh, that's wild.
Okay. All right.
Give us another chance.
There's more hits here. CES is over there being like, I'm right there with you, man.
Right?
Rain falling right in his face.
Oh.
He's not a normal first baseman either.
No, he's not
a normal first baseman.
He was playing second until they signed Glaber.
Yeah. He's played all over the place, but Torque is their typical first baseman.
That's our hometown boy. He's they said he was born in Zanesville. That's a hospital he was born in, but he's actually living in Byesville, which is like 10 minutes down the road is our rival high school. So Colt Keith's like a hometown boy for us. So I've been kind of keeping tabs on him ever since he's been coming up.
He really struggled last year, didn't he? He signed that early deal and then struggled. And then
he signed a 6-year deal, and then I think they ended up sending him down at the beginning of the year, but he ended up turning it on a little bit. And honestly, I thought the same thing this year too. They almost ended up sending him down again.
All right, Stevenson, let's get another hit here.
Yeah, let's do something. If we're gonna get wet, we might as well win. Okay.
Oh,
okay. Buries one down in the left field corner. Elly Cruz scores. That's going to take the runner to at least third. He's getting the green light home. 2 more runs. Score on a 2-run double by Tyler Stevenson. There we go. 6 more. 6 more. Come on, boys. Where's this been all night long?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Hey, this is a win. Make them go down in their bullpen. They're up by 9 runs, and they couldn't get a guy out of the 9th. That's great.
Yes.
That's a small victory, but that's a victory.
Yep. That's the game inside the game right there. I like that.
Hopefully that is something that pays dividends later.
If any luck, we can get the Flaherty early tomorrow. Man. That boy's been absolutely lights out.
Yeah. You have the stats on him for his past 3 games. They're pretty nuts.
Insane.
Yeah. We'll get to it. Don't worry. But
that was something else that didn't dawn on me till I saw some of the chatters talking about it in the pregame show was the Sparky Anderson series. Oh yeah, the Sparky Anderson series. That's right.
That's right.
He is the winningest manager for both franchises. I'm like, heck yeah. Guess I didn't realize that.
That is impressive. Matt Gage is your new is your new pitcher. He is a left-handed pitcher, of course. He's scared of Will Benson and Jake Fraley on the bench. 1.83 ERA, 16 games, 20 strikeouts. So he's pretty good. Taken in the 10th round by the Giants out of Siena. Very interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah. All right, Spence.
It's like he's been hopping back and forth between AAA Toledo.
Oh boy, Sadek's calling attention to it right now. He's been all over the place.
He's like,
oh. Ugh. An ugly one at that.
Looked bad.
Yeah, it did.
Unfortunately. Steer strikes out, 2 outs. Stevenson's still on second base.
Getting that pre-Ludacris concert vibe going in Detroit right now. Gosh.
Gavin Lux against a lefty here. Unfortunately, I don't really know who you would go to at this point. Oh, Trevino.
Yeah, Trevino warming up.
Hip, hip, Jose. Here we go. You get an at-bat. Go ahead. All right, Trevi. Torpedo Trevi.
Let's get a little spark right here.
Join the party here.
What's this place?
Swinging first pitch. Fouled it off. Do you know who's probably the most pissed right now is the Detroit grounds crew? They're like, let us get this dang tarp on this field, please.
Right.
Because they have this post-game Ludacris concert. They're just like, please let us get this thing on here.
Ain't that the truth?
Interesting to see. They're like, nope. Just score a bunch of meaningless runs in the top of the 9th inning and keep it all going.
Interesting to see what it looks like tomorrow after it's all trampled on and everything else.
You usually see it in the outfield, like where the stage goes, because usually the stage goes somewhere in center field. I've been to games after that where you just see like some dead spots where the stage was. They do a really good job of getting it out there real fast. My wife and I went to Zach Brown Band there maybe 2 years ago, and it was excellent. They got it out there real quick, very quick after the game. They started it up, so I'd imagine it'd be the same here.
No doubt. Down to our last strike, 2-2 on Jose. Still got a runner on second. If we can poke one here, we can get another run back. But
yeah, maybe. I don't know. Tyler Stevenson ain't fleet of foot.
Very true.
Oh,
powder off. Hanging.
Stayed alive.
Hanging. Came from Corpus Christi just to watch him play. That's a road trip.
That's his hometown. That's
that's
Trevino's
cool.
Hometown.
Yeah, and there it goes. And that's the ball game. Your Cincinnati Reds lose to the Tigers 11-5. Mike, we will be back on the other side of this thing to do a post-game show. Let's do a show today, brother.
Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first and homer barely for the second time in his major league career. Tossed to nowhere. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to a career of Cruz.
Well, hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back into another losing edition of the Cincinnati or of Chatterbox Reds. We are proudly sponsored by DSC, Deep South Commodities. As always, thanks to our friends at DSC. Mike, another rough one at the ballpark, brother. It was not a good night. We were kind of hanging tight there until about the 6th inning, and kind of everything went awry there. But we lose the first game of what I have dubbed the Sparky Anderson series, but not off to a good start. What were your overall thoughts on tonight's game, brother?
Yeah, bullpen and Martinez were pretty underwhelming today. It's pretty unfortunate. I mean, we'll get to a lot of what we had. We left, I think, 11 men on base. Bullpen kind of imploded there in the 6th inning with Rogers and Barlow. Martinez really didn't have it very well and he still went into the 6th inning. And yeah, it's just a sad game overall. I think we've been on some of these games where we've gotten up in arms and we're ready to yell and shout about all the things that went wrong. And I'm sure we will talk about it and we're disappointed, but sometimes the other team shows up to the ballpark and is just better. And unfortunately, that was Detroit tonight. As much as we hate to see it, they just played a lot better than we did. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you have an 11-5 game, an 11-5 loss.
Absolutely, you're going to run into a buzzsaw when you're facing the AL's best, American League's best team. But
Best
ran
record,
into a buzzsaw a little bit. Got off to another left-handed opener today, which seems to be the demise of the Cincinnati Reds for whatever reason. But couldn't seem to break past him, and they brought in Montero afterwards, and we just couldn't get to the right-hander either. But let's get to a little bit of box score recap. You got a box score recap?
I do have a box score recap brought to you by our fearless leader, Nick Kirby, who is actually at the Dayton Dragons game today. They beat Lake County 2-1, if you're wondering. But starting off this game was Brant Herter for the Detroit Tigers. He was a left-handed pitching opener. And Friedl and Elly got aboard with a walk and a hit to start the game. But then CES struck out in the top of the first, and then that led to them chasing Herter out and bringing in bulk reliever Keter Montero, which then Tyler Stevenson flew out with men on first and third to end the threat. No runs scored in the top of the first. Then in the bottom of the first, in the first pitch that he saw from Nick Martinez, Gleyber Torres homered to left field, making it 1-0. But then in the top of the third, TJ Friedl answered back with his own solo home run in his 8th of the year, making it 1-1. But then right back in the bottom of the third, Riley Green hit a 111.1 mile per hour missile, 425 feet to left center. That gave the Tigers the lead back at 2-1. Then in the top of the fourth, there were 3 hits by Steer, Joe, and McLean to load the bases with Friedl up with 2 outs. And unfortunately, Friedl popped out for leaving all 3 on base and scoring no runs. And then in the bottom of the fourth, Javier Baez, former Cub and Reds killer, homered to left center off of Martinez, making it 3-1. Elly would answer back in the top of the 5th with his own solo home run, his 14th of the year, 109.8 off the bat to make it 3-2. And then in the bottom of the 5th, Martinez played it, did his best Houdini act to walk or to get out from under Kerry Carpenter single, Spencer Torkelson hit by a pitch. Then Colt Keith singled to right field, and Connor Joe came up throwing and threw out Kerry Carpenter at the plate, and then Perez would ground out to end the inning. At this point, we'd gotten out of the 5th inning with no runs there, and the Reds only losing 3-2. But in the top of the 6th, or in the bottom of the 6th, Martinez went back out to pitch, and he walked Baez. Then Tito came in and brought Barlow in, and after McLean couldn't handle a hot shot to second base and a walk to Jake Rogers, Gleyber Torres singled making it 4-2. Then Taylor Rogers, the lefty, came in, and Jahmai Jones hit an infield single. Riley Green then with the knockout blow cleared the bases with a double, making it 7-2. After that, McLean misplayed another double play ball, allowing the bases to be loaded again, but Ian Jabot was able to get out of the inning. The final line for Martinez was 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, only 89 pitches, but 10 hard hit balls. Then in the bottom of the 7th, Gleyber Torres hits his second home run of the night, making it 8-2. Then 3 more score in the bottom of the 8th for the Tigers, making it 11-2, heading to the top of the 9th. The Reds showed a little bit of fight in the top of the 9th. We watched along. Espinal walked. Elly doubled him home, making it 11-3. CES got off the schneid and hit a single, and Tyler Stevenson scored him and Elly, making it 11-5 with a double. But then Spencer Steer struck out, and Trevino grounded out to end the game, and that brought us to our final 11-5. Detroit with 11 runs, 16 hits, 1 error, and Cincinnati only 5 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error. That is your box score recap. Try to keep it a little tighter than I did rambling last time I had to do one.
Yeah, that's easier to keep it a little tighter when there's not much to talk about with what the Reds put on the baseball field today. It was a titanic struggle, to use the words of our beloved Marty Brenneman. But today's titanic struggle was not, I mean, honestly, for the first 6 innings, I was glued in. Really felt like we had a chance, man. And the wheels just kind of came off. That couple miscues there with the glove with Matt McLean felt like a pretty big deal. The walk to Jake Rogers, who was hitting $143 or whatever at the time, felt like a really big deal. So just one thing led after another, and even the Cowboy called attention to it. You can kind of feel the game slipping away, sliding away. It went, man. It's just a rough day for the bullpen. Nick Martinez did not have his best stuff. Still battled. Still gave up less than 4, so he gave up 3 runs total. And I mean, so he had to battle through it. Don't get me wrong, but we didn't get any help from our back end of the bullpen.
Yeah, in that 6th inning, Barlow and Rogers each faced 3 batters. They only recorded 1 out between them, but gave up 3 hits, 3 runs, and walked 2 and struck out no one. So,
right,
pretty hard to win when you get 2 relievers that literally only get 1 out. So. Pretty frustrating about that, but it happens. Nick Martinez really battled. I thought he was really fortunate to even get through 5 with only 3 runs, 3 solo home runs. He had, like I mentioned, 10 hard hit balls during this game. It seemed like even the foul balls were rockets. And boy, when they sent him out in the 6th, I felt not great about it. I guess it didn't end up mattering in the end, because I was like, why don't you just give Barlow the 3 at the bottom there, and then let Rogers come in top of the order for Torres, Carpenter, who got pinch hit for, and then Riley Green, and it didn't end up mattering. They both pitched poorly. As much as I would have loved to yell and scream about that, I don't think it ends up mattering much at all, just because neither of those guys seem to have it.
Yep, you're exactly right. And it deflated the rest of the bullpen. I mean, Suter didn't have anything to throw for after he comes out of there. So it's just kind of a deflating inning all the way around. And that 6th inning, if we could have avoided that, it might have been a better outcome. But that's why they play the game and move on to tomorrow and hope for a better outcome. But deep drive of the day, we had a couple different home runs to choose from. We had TJ Friedl solo homer in the 3rd inning, I believe it was. And Elly De La Cruz's rocket in the 5th. But you and I were talking before the show, and I think our DSC deep drive of the day is going to be TJ Friedl's solo home run in the 3rd inning. 101.5 miles an hour off the bat, flying 393 feet. Took our winning percentage or winning probability up 11.7%, but ultimately ended up at 0%. So that was our DSC deep drive of the day. It's always sponsored by Deep South Commodities. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And thanks to always as our friends at DSC. So that was our deep drive of the game, which were pretty much the couple only highlights really from what was a struggle today, my brother. from a rundown standpoint, we just ran into another left-handed opener, which seems to be one of our demises. Not sure what we need to do to get off the schneid. I felt good about it coming into the first inning. TJ Friedl gets a 7-pitch walk. Elly sees 7 pitches right there. Just CES had a really bad at bat. Tyler Stevenson swings at the first pitch, and everything just kind of went downhill from there. But I felt like it was a good start, and I really felt like they kind of pulled the trigger a little bit early on the opener. I thought he would go a little bit longer than that, but it seemed to work out pretty well.
Yeah, I was a little shocked as well that they pulled him when they did. I was pretty convinced. I did, for the pregame show, I did a decent amount of research on Reds versus left-handed openers. When we get to how those stats looking up, I'll give you a preview. It ain't good. But on June 4th, they faced DL Hall for the Brewers, and he went all the way, I think, into the 4th inning, like to face the top or into the 3rd inning, one of the two, to face the top of the order twice. And I was pretty convinced that Hinch was going to try to get that, because from whatever Tito had, he was clearly not adjusting that much for this opener, because he kind of plays it both ways, right? It's just like, okay, if you think he's only going to go 1 inning or the first couple of batters, then you should pack your right-handed batters that are good against left-handed pitchers up at the top of the lineup. So your Steer and Espinal, who, is career-wise pretty good against left-handed pitching, but Steer and Stevenson and CES, get those guys at the front of the lineup here.
Absolutely.
But then he's like, well, he stacks them afterwards, thinking, okay, maybe he is going to have this opener go for more than 1 inning. But then you still have Lux and Joe. This idea of like, well, Joe, if he keeps going with this lefty, Joe will get to bat against left-handed pitching, which he's better at. But then once that right-handed pitcher comes in, he just leaves him in there the rest of the game. And I know he did get a couple hits, but if you're not willing to play Joe against right-handed pitching starters, like, why, if you get the chance there, that would you not, want at least, I mean, after he got 1 at bat, maybe you don't want to completely burn somebody without even ever giving them an at bat. Not that doesn't happen. That absolutely does happen when somebody gets announced as a pinch hitter and they get taken down once so it's not unheard of for somebody to get burned without actually having any contribution to the game. And it was just curious to me why he wouldn't do that. Why then is Joe and then Espinal again and then Joe again getting more at bats against right-handed pitching when you have somebody like Benson and Fraley on the bench? And we don't know, maybe one of them was actually like needing a day off and was getting a day off, and they know more than we do when it comes to their health. But another thing where this kind of bled over into an issue was defense, especially in left field. There were a couple plays out there that I think there was Baez's home run, which was a home run, but the attempt to rob it, I think an experienced outfielder has a really good chance to do that. That ball's way up in the air, barely clears the fence. There's Riley Green's double, which gets by Steer, who dives for it, even though he was never going to catch it. I think maybe Benson even catches that, let alone plays that to prevent runs from scoring. And then there was also the throw that he has in from left field that bounces 3 times before it even gets to the pitcher's mound. And it's just like, you got this guy out in left field. I appreciate that he's able to play out there, but that is not his strong suit. And it's just like, if you pull Espinal for either Benson or Fraley, you have one of them play left, you put CES at 30, you put Steer at first. It's like, you have not only gotten better against right-handed pitching, you have dramatically upgraded defensively out in left field, which unfortunately reared its ugly head tonight. And it might not have been the complete difference in the game, but man, it's tough that we're not willing to make these proactive decisions that can optimize or, really take advantage of some of the things that some of the advantages that we could have, but won't take advantage of, which is just unfortunate.
Absolutely. And you're right. It felt like a half in, half out kind of lineup. Like he was trying to play it from both sides of the fence, go all the way in one way or the other, man.
Right.
And let's live or die with it. I completely agree with what you're saying. If you're gonna play that lefty, I just don't understand why you know what I mean? I don't understand why you put those guys in those positions, but by the same token, you know the right-hander is going to come in and take up the bulk of it. So why wouldn't you not prepare accordingly? And Spencer Steer being in left field just reared its ugly head tonight.
Unfortunately,
the one dive was complete desperation. I completely understand why he's trying to lay out and make a play. By the same token, like you say, another fleet of foot might have gotten to that ball. Somebody that doesn't know they can't get to it plays the carom and tries to, tries to get it in as quickly as they possibly can. And that throw home was absolutely atrocious, which that's Spencer Steer not being 100%. He's still going through the shoulder stuff. You even heard him call attention to it on the broadcast. This is going to be Spencer's first big throw from left field, a 3-hopper to what was
the pitcher.
I just say to barely the pitcher's mound. So that's, I don't know. It's starting to rear its ugly head a little bit. And as much as I don't want to jump on Tito and beat it to death, we're getting outmanaged here, man. I mean, they brought it up in the preview show yesterday when Kirby was talking to the guy from the Tigers or that covers the Tigers. He covers the Tigers and the Reds both, and he's watching game in and game out. And that's been the major difference between what the Tigers got going on and what the Reds have going on. It's just some of the management decisions. Because, I mean, when you start looking at some of the numbers, we're relatively close to what the Tigers are, what the Tigers have going on. There's something missing when our numbers are that close. And it's got to come down to some of our managerial decisions and putting ourselves in the best positions to win. Because when you look at the numbers, I don't know what else it could possibly be.
Yeah. It's frustrating, especially when it's in stark contrast for what the Tigers do. Right? It seemed like Hinch was in total control here with how he's moving things in. I think that if Herder would have gotten through that first inning with no runs, no hits, and stuff like that, he stays in. But because he's starting to struggle, he sees, oh yeah, Stevenson bats well against left-handed pitching. Boom, I've got my righty in. Boom, here we go. And then what's he do? He neutralizes the threat, right? Arguably his best hitter against right-handed pitcher. Most scary hitter is Kerry Carpenter, right? And what does he do? He pinch hits for Jahmai Jones. This dude who we don't even know who he is, and what's he do? He goes 2 for 2. So it's just like I understand that the moves look a lot better when the players actually execute. You know what I'm saying? Like
Absolutely.
The Connor Joe move may not look as bad because Joe got 2 hits today. I still think it's the wrong move in principle, but Connor Joe getting 2 hits today is great. Against a right-handed pitcher is great. I would have no way banked on that. I think that everyone in the chat, almost everyone in the chat, would have preferred Jake Fraley or Will Benson in that position, right? So the players still have to make it happen, right? You still need to perform on the field, but when you're basically actively reducing your odds of having success by how you're putting players out there, how you're choosing to match things up. It becomes tough. You get a bunch of these 1-run game losses, and you get a bunch of games that you feel like you should have won that you don't quite get to. Now, I don't feel like that's today. Like today, I'm not going up to bed tonight being like, man, the Reds should have won that one. Today I chalk it up to, hey, we just played the best team in the American League. We lost, but I think that there's been plenty of examples that we've seen throughout these games that we've been watching for this first half of the year that. It really could have used some help on the margins there, and it just doesn't seem to quite be there all the time.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I feel like we could be the Tigers if we could start to get our stuff together. Yeah, I mean that's like a shooting point for us because the Tigers have come from the cellar, and all of a sudden they're just like you said, one of the best teams in the American League. I mean, I started looking at some of the numbers to see if there's a big drastic difference somewhere to where I could make it like total team home runs and hitting with runners in scoring position. They've got 79 team home runs. We've got 75 team home runs. They're hitting 250 with runners in scoring position. What were we hitting? 245 with runners in scoring position. So it's like there's got to be something there. And it's timely hitting when you look at some of the averages. I think they've got 7 guys hitting over league average, and they're going up and down their lineup. So it's definitely they're hitting for the average and the timely hitting and stuff. But something's got to give there, man, when our numbers are looking relatively that close as far as bullpen and scoring and home runs and hitting with runners in scoring position. There's got to be a difference there, and it's got to be some of the in-game adjustments that we're making. So I think you're onto something there, man, but I don't want to continue to beat a dead horse because, I mean, obviously Tito's going to forget more about baseball than I will ever know, but by the same token, it doesn't mean I can't sit here and be a frustrated Reds fan because it gets to be a little bit frustrating from time to time.
Yeah. And one thing that stuck out to me that Clay Snowden, the guy that Nick talked to yesterday about the Tigers, was just like offensively, there's just a plan all the way down the organization, all the way down to, their complex league. It's like there's a plan on how they're going to do their hitting, and they stick to it all the way up. And I think we've seen this in the Reds organization with their pitching, right? I think part of the reason why the Reds struggled so much with developing pitching over the years was just because it was so much chaos as they came up, and there wasn't always the same voice. And so they had a hard time developing pitchers because, they would be told one thing in Dayton and then told another thing in Louisville and then told a third thing in Cincinnati, right? And now, since Derek Johnson has taken over, he's not only the pitching coach, he's like the pitching coordinator for the whole organization, right? He's got it so that every stop is preaching the same thing, and it's working. We're spitting people out. I think people would agree that the Reds have been able to develop some pretty good pitchers, whether it's Abbott or Lodolo or Hunter Greene, or even, I don't know how much developing Rhett Lauder and Chase Burns are, since they kind of came as pretty polished college guys, but even like people like Carson Spires, somebody that was an undrafted free agent that, I think we'd all take Carson Spires starting on Sunday over Wade Miley. So they've shown that they can get on the same page pitching wise in a part of their organization to be able to improve their development. And it seems like it probably aren't quite there when it comes to hitting. Just look at how many people have come up and just sputtered. Whether it's Hurtubise or Dunn or even Reese Hines. I know we're all clamoring for him to come up, but ultimately he has not been that successful in the major leagues. And then, regression from people like CES and Matt McClain and even Elly a little bit this year. And it's just really unfortunate to see how the hitting development just does not align at all with how well the pitching development is. And if we could get that on, I think that would be the biggest step to getting us to be. You see, how do we beat the Tigers? Is like we need to get back on the same page so that we can develop hitters. We can, we're not a big market team. We're going to lose people in free agency. Last year, the Tigers sold at the deadline. They sold off Flaherty and sold Carson Kelly and things like that. And then they went on a win streak and ended up going to the playoffs still because they were able to bring their young guys up and they were able to start contributing in their role that they were carved out specifically for, that AJ Hinch was going to specifically put them in. And that's how they saw success. And that's how they're seeing success again this year. So I think that there's going to need to be some tweaks on the offensive side of things in the Reds organization if we're going to want to see any success like the Tigers do.
I think you're right, and I think that might be where some of the frustration comes in, because that was the 2023 Cincinnati Reds. We were all excited about it. We were getting there, and 24 was supposed to be the year, and this is, you know what I mean? So I think that might be a little bit of where the frustration comes in, because we were really riding that high and honestly thought we were there with Matt McClain's and the Elly De La Cruz's. And I'm not saying we can't get there, but we're going to have to stop getting in our own way to do so. Like you were talking, we put in the rundown, CES is struggling. From a hitting development standpoint, I don't know if it's more understanding of the strike zone or what it is, because my man swings at some absolutely awful pitches right now, and it seems like he's pressing. He was Superman for the first 5 games, and now it's kind of slid downhill. Well, yeah,
first 3 games.
Yeah, you're right. 5 was giving him a little bit too much. I'm sorry about that. But
yeah, some numbers on CES. He in his games that are not against the Diamondbacks, he is 2 for 16. And he was 1 for 15 until that doink single that he got in the 9th of a meaningless game. But he has got 8 strikeouts and 0 walks. So I don't know. I don't know if it is. I think it's probably a combination of pressing. He's always kind of been a bad ball hitter, but some of the pitches that he swung at today were just like so far out. Like in the first inning, that ball that he swung at to strike out with the man on third base in less than 2 outs was just
wasn't even close.
Not even close. Not even close. It was not a competitive pitch, and he swung anyway. So I think part of it is pressing, but also it's this young guy's got to start understanding the strike zone. And if he doesn't do that, he's going to be a classic quad A guy, a guy that's going to go down to minor league pitching, destroy minor league pitching, come up, struggle. And unless he starts getting a better grasp of this strike zone, I don't know where we're not going to see success. And I absolutely want it. This dude's got monster power. This dude, we saw he carried a series, right? It's because of him that we swept the Diamondbacks. It's like when he is on, it is incredible. He can really, really change a game and strike fear in pitchers, but just hasn't been there since that series. And hopefully we're able to, snap back out of it and be able to string together a week or two of some good hitting with mixing in power, but also some better plate discipline. But he's got a lot to learn if he's going to stay up here and be a regular. And unfortunately, it's not there yet.
Yeah, it just seems to be the familiar story with CES. I feel like we've gone through this, 100 different times where he'll come up and show promise and you get excited about it. And then next thing you know, he struggles, or next thing you know, he's unavailable, or next thing you know, he's hurt. Is that we just somehow we've got to figure out a way to get some consistent at bats and consistent availability out of my guy. Could you imagine what it would look like if CES comes to the same plate with a plate approach as Gavin Lux, or so, you know what I mean? It's like, that would just be an absolute scary hitter. But whatever we've got to do to get to that point, man, because it's a different lineup when CES is hitting hot. I got more bad news with Austin Hayes today, so that's not going to redeem itself anytime. Well, I shouldn't say anytime soon. They're going to give him a couple more days with the foot pain going on. So hopefully, in a couple of days, the pain will reside and we can start filling that left field gap there. But until that happens, CES is going to have to provide some of the power, and it's just not there right now. And it's a completely different lineup when he's not.
Right. And I don't need him to have Gavin Lux's eye at the plate, right? Like we've seen him hit really hard balls, the balls that are out of the strike zone. So I don't need him to necessarily be laying off those pitches. Just, he needs to make sure that he is, putting himself in competitive counts to be able to do that. So he needs to get a little bit better at a strike zone command, understanding where the strike zone is. He doesn't have to be perfect. I wouldn't say he's got to be Juan Soto good. Like, he's got to be like what Elly is right now. We're talking a little down, a bunch of negative things so far, but Elly so far in July has been very good. He's, batting .361, on base .477. So he's almost on base every other time that he is up the bat. His OPS is 1.199, which is really, really good. Anything over 1 is very good. 3 home runs, 4 doubles, 8 strikeouts, and here's the kicker, 8 walks. So the same number of strikeouts as walks so far in June. And that's the type of thing that it's just like, yeah, he's going to strike out a little bit. He's also going to hit missiles like he did today in his home run that brought us within 1. And if we can, as it's heating up, if we can get that sort of production out of Elly, and then just like contribution from anyone else here, like that's I know we got bad bullpen pitching today, but like that's a formula that the Reds can win with. If Elly can get that OPS, keep that OPS up there, and keep seeing the ball well, being willing to take a walk and getting on base, and then we can have people behind him, hopefully like CES or Stevenson, to drive him in. So I've been very encouraged with what I've seen about Elly. He's the least of my worries. I know he will make an error every once in a while, but boy, it's good to see that he's starting to bounce back. And if like this year ends up being like his floor year, I'm like very satisfied with that. Where he struggled, but he's still going to hit 20 home runs, steal 40 bases. Like, that's huge. And he makes some errors at shortstop, but still makes some amazing plays. And to be honest, I think I'd rather have a shortstop that makes the amazing plays and screws up the basic ones, not as of right now, but just because you can get better at the basic ones. Like you can get better at making the easy plays, like continuing to get his internal clock better. Like Trace has talked about, like those can get better. You can't teach the ridiculous athleticism that Elly has at shortstop. So while it's frustrating when he, throws the ball away on a pretty routine play, I think that that's something that he can eventually get under control. And then we have just like a potential gold. Like if he can do the easy stuff, he makes the hard plays look really easy. So it's like, then we're talking potential gold glove. Right. He's far from that now because of all the errors that he makes. But like, if he can get the easy ones under control, like I don't think it's a over exaggeration to think that he could be competing for a gold glove.
No, you're absolutely right. If he can start getting some of those little mistakes down, for every error that he does make, the guy makes an unbelievable play that no other shortstop in the league is going to make. So, like you say, I'll take that trade off 9 times out of 10. And if he starts becoming more consistent, he obviously wants to be on the field every day. You get that consistency out of him every day. We're talking about a Gold Glove shortstop. We're talking about a guy that can lead a ball club. And like you said, we start getting a little bit of production from anywhere else. And it just looks like a completely different lineup. When CES was on a 3-game hit streak, Matt McLean was also on a 3-game hit streak. A little bit of production from the bottom of the lineup, also some production around Elly. Looks like a whole different ball club. Plus, we got TJ Friedl playing like an all-star. Go vote TJ Friedl for an all-star. I mean, how he compares to Pete Crow Armstrong and all that other stuff, I really don't care about any of that. I watch TJ every night. TJ deserves a shot at the All-Star game, man. So whatever we can do to get that going. But a little bit of production from everybody else around Elly. Elly can carry this squad when he needs to. But let's just hope that starts to come to fruition here in the next couple of days, because we're going to need it against this squad.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's something like the final score looks a little bit better than it actually was. This is basically an 11-2 game where we got a few at the end here. And I think part of the issue here was ultimately not getting decent length from Nick Martinez, right? Going into this game, I think he had 7 of his last 8 games. He had gone at least 6 innings. So, and he comes out for the 6th, and immediately walks Baez. What were your thoughts on him coming back out? It really seemed like he was out of gas there in the end of the 5th. What were your thoughts on Martinez coming out in the 6th inning there?
That was my thoughts exactly. Even that Cowboy brought it up. He's like, I think he's out of gas. So him coming back out in the 6th, I was really surprised to see, because he was just grinding through. Seemed like every at bat at that point, and just trying to do his best to get the heck out of there. But after giving up 8 hits and looking that sluggish, I really was surprised they brought it back out there for that.
Yeah. According to StatCast, his fastball velo was down about 1.5 miles an hour, and his cutter velo was down about 1.1 mile an hour. So he was not dealing with the full deck of cards today too. And to be honest, if we would have pulled him out of 5, it would have been tough, because only 5 innings. It's still 4 innings of bullpen coverage, but like three earned runs for not having your best stuff, I would have taken that. You know, he had 10 hard hit balls. Like even the outs were just like line drives. I think there was that one that Connor Joe had to jump for. He almost misplayed. Like there was some line drive outs all over the place, and for him to get through 5 felt like, fortunate for us. And then they see him out in the 6th. It might have been something where Martinez basically was like, all right, Tito, let's give me the 6. And Tito's like, okay, first sign of trouble, we're getting you out of there. I don't know. I have no inside information about whether that was the case or not, but it was just, it was a day that he didn't have it. And it felt like we were still in a position to win, even on a day that he didn't have it. And then he comes out there, and then just the avalanche happens with Rogers and Barlow, unfortunately. So I guess the only positive thing is we didn't use any of our A bullpen. And so Detroit hasn't seen any of our A bullpen, which is good too, right? So hopefully we can get a lead on into tomorrow or Sunday's game. We can still see some success from Ashcraft, Santillan, and Pagan.
Yeah, I would like to see a bounce back game from not Lodolo. I said that too quick. Brady Singer. I'd love to see a bounce back game from Brady Singer. We need innings in the worst way right now. I'd love to see him get through the 6th and then go 7, 8, 9 with our big guns, and take us into Sunday and try to get rid of this losing the opening game and still losing the series streak. I'd love to bring that to an end. So that could be one positive light after what was a really, really bad taste in our mouth this evening.
Good point. Can't lose a series, or can't break the losing a series when you lose the first game of the series streak, unless you lose the first game of the series.
Right?
So
let's try to spin this.
Boy, somebody mentioned in the pregame show that it was Friday the 13th, and so weird things were going to happen. I was kind of hoping that some weird things would happen in the Reds' favor, but unfortunately, that's not the case. That seems like the deck is kind of stacked against us here for the rest of this series. So hopefully we can string together. I just don't get swept, please. Come on, just like it would be great. We need to at least get one here. And we're at 500. If we win one and one of the next two, we'll still be at 500 going into the next series.
Day off on Monday. So
yeah, that's kind of how I feel about this whole thing is like, please just don't get swept.
Yeah, you're right. And it's hard not to feel that way, especially after today, but we go in and get one tomorrow, man. Hopefully we can win one on Father's Day when my dad and I in the ballpark. So that'll definitely be a good time. I'm looking forward to checking out Comerica on Sunday. So hopefully we can keep the good streak alive. I've been to 3 games so far. We're 3-0. So I'm hoping that bodes well for Sunday.
Hey,
so let's get one tomorrow.
Go on
We'll
Saturday.
get a series win. We'll be feeling real good on Monday, but that's very optimistic after coming off of what we saw tonight. But looking at some of the National League Central scores, we did waste a win by the Pirates, and the Pirates did get past the Cubs tonight 2-1. And we got another National League Central battle with the Brewers and the Cardinals. The Brewers beat the Cardinals 3-2 tonight. So there's your scores around the National League Central, as the Reds did themselves 0 favors with an 11-5 loss in Detroit. So what are you looking for with tomorrow's matchup, bud?
Yeah, so tomorrow we mentioned we have Jack Flaherty going for the Tigers. He's got a 3.41 ERA, but in his last starts, he is 3-0 with a 0.5 ERA, 1 run allowed, and 21 strikeouts. So, hopefully we can, all streaks got to come to an end, right? So hopefully we can get some sort of, let me see. I'm trying to look up to see what the, what some of the Reds are against them. Let's see, Flaherty. Hopefully we can break that streak here. Sorry, this is bad radio right here. All right, looks like Gavin Lux is 1 for 2. TJ Friedl also 1 for 2 with a walk. Fraley 1 for 3. I don't care. Garrett Hanson's not playing in this game, and nobody else has faced this. None of like McLean, Elly, Espinal, Strand, CES. None of those guys have faced him. Will Benson. So, a little bit of success. Hopefully, we can. When somebody's going good like this, it'd be great to, have that first inning Reds jump out again, right? Let's get a couple 3-4 runs in the first inning and jump out to a big lead for Brady Singer. He's Mr. Run Support, so hopefully maybe he'll be able to do that. Let's see. It looks like Javier Baez is 6 for 18 against Brady Singer, 333 average, and Gleyber Torres is 4 for 12, also 333 average. Looks like the only one that's homered off of him is Spencer Torkelson, but he's 3 for 15. And then Riley Green is 3 for 12. You remember Singer used to be on the Kansas City Royals, who are in the same division as Detroit. So it looks like he's faced some of these main guys a few times. Kerry Carpenter, 1 for 8. That's good. With 4 strikeouts, that's good. He hits right-handed pitching very well. I would imagine Colt Keith will probably be in the lineup again. He's 0 for 1. So it looks like they've seen him a few times. Hopefully we can score a few runs and give him some run support, and we'll be able to come out with a victory tomorrow because we mentioned it a little bit, but I think that there's no reason that they wouldn't do this. The Tigers wouldn't do the same thing that they did today with their starting pitching on Sunday. I think they have some guy named Gibson Long, or I think that's his last name. Hold on. Going on Sunday. Sawyer Gibson Long, right-handed pitcher. But if the Reds aren't going to adjust, like if they're going to run out of lineup like they did today against a left-handed opener, then why the heck would Pitch not do this? Yeah,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, if they're gonna give you things like that, might as well take advantage of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. Remember, that's a 12 o'clock game on Sunday with Wade Miley pitching for the Reds as a starter there. It's a Roku game, so that's why it's starting early. So I really think we need to at least take this one. I think we need to take Saturday's game because Sunday I don't have a lot of faith that we're going to get a lot of or something tells me that Wade Miley is not going to last very long and he's going to give a lot of runs on Sunday. Right. Just put it that way. Maybe not because Corey T's going to be in the stands giving off all
Hey.
the good juju. So hopefully,
Hey, that's it.
not.
I saw Wade Miley pitch against the Guardians or whatever. We were actually in the stadium for that one, and that went pretty
nice,
well. So
nice. It did.
it'll be
It
my
did.
my
Go
second
figure.
time being forced through a Wade Miley start, but it'll be all right. We're going to make the best of it, by God. It'll be a good Father's Day, and hopefully we can come out with a win. But you're right. Scoring first. Let's just jump on these guys. Let's get our big boppers back in the lineup. Let's get Friedl back in the lineup, Benson back in the lineup. And they were talking about it on the broadcast today too. Whichever team scores first seems to win. And sure enough, that happened today. First pitch home run, they get that run on the board and ended up coming out victorious. So let's score that first run tomorrow and keep them from getting on the board and getting us down again. And not look back. Let's just run through it. We need a good start from Brady Singer and another good outing from the bullpen leading into what's going to be Wade's start on Sunday. So let's set the tone tomorrow and go from there.
Yeah. And I know that ninth inning, those runs seem pretty meaningless, but we talked about it as it was happening. I think that the Reds can build off something like that. I don't think it's completely meaningless to them. Not only did you make Detroit have to bring in another lefty reliever, so that's like we're burning another bullpen arm, but CES broke a 0 for 12 streak. Elly got another hit. Stevenson got a hit. It's just like if we can kind of, hey, okay, we can string together a few things, get a little bit of confidence back going into tomorrow's game. I know it didn't matter on the scoreboard today, but I think that some of those hits going back to back, even Espinal getting a walk there can maybe spark some confidence for you to be able to string that into some better offense tomorrow. So I feel hopeful for tomorrow. I know we've been all down, doom and gloom today, but I feel hopeful for tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be able to, string some of the hits that we got there and carry it over to the end of the game tomorrow morning or afternoon.
Absolutely. Speaking of doom and gloom, you actually reminded me. We always want to remind you that you can call or text 988 anytime, day or night. The 988 Suicide Crisis Hotline is a place to get support for anything related to mental health, whether it's an immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between. 988 is a 100% confidential, secure, and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or visit mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay not to be okay. Their phone lines might be blowing up a little bit tonight with some of these Reds fans needing a little bit of help. But let's, like you say, let's be optimistic. Let's look forward to tomorrow. Let's get our left-handed batters back in the lineup against Flaherty and hope for the best, man, because it's going to be an uphill battle against the AL best for sure.
Yep, I'd like them to show some fight. It felt like everything kind of fell apart for us in the sixth inning. But I'd like them to show some fight. So far they were, right? They were coming back with those two solo home runs. So if we can be tough baseball players here and really show some fight here in the rest of the series and not roll over, I'd really like to see that as well from this team.
You're absolutely right. Well, here's to a better day tomorrow. Mike, I really appreciate you being on with me tonight, brother. It was definitely good to work with you again. I think you'll be on with us, next weekend?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. But
right.
Yes, I'll be on here soon.
Yeah,
not tomorrow, but
look at the schedule and see what's going on. I think Austin Layton will be joining me for tomorrow night's game. So please join us tomorrow night for what is hopefully to be a better night at the ballpark. And any final words, Mike?
No, just go Reds.
Yes, sir.